Hello, hi everyone. Welcome back again to another quite exciting episode. I'm here with my friend. Can I call you my friend?
Of course.
Because it's been a while.
A very long time.
Very long time indeed. So, like we always do, I would invite my friend to tell us about a little bit about who you are to get us started.
Okay, so hey everyone, I am Ingy Mkhize. Everybody calls me Ingy, and I am a teacher teaching in Doha. I've been here for about 5 years now, and I love it. I love to teach. I love to learn. Um, Currently doing my master's in education. Um, yeah, that's me.
Great. So you started by describing yourself as a teacher and that you are a teacher in Doha, which means were you elsewhere before you went to Doha?
I was teaching in South Africa before.
Okay.
At home. That's where I come from. I'm South African, and I was teaching drama. I'm a drama teacher by profession. Drama and life orientation. I studied psychology, which actually helped me to be a life orientation and a drama teacher. I taught in South Africa for 2 years before I headed out.
Before you headed out. And indeed, it was
Hmm.
South Africa that I met you, that beautiful
Mm,
place. That place
yeah,
I still regard as home. It was the
yeah.
first place I lived in outside of my own home country. And I spent about 5 years of my life there. And
Mm,
I've always been dreaming of going back. Indeed, I went back, but only for the conference. But I've always
mm.
been thinking of going back to engage more.
You were my ethics lecturer. Do you not lecturer? What my ethics tutor? Do you remember that?
I
Used to
remember.
like speak of Gaddafi and what the oppression. I remember.
Oh, really?
So cool. Yeah, that's how we met. Yeah,
Oh,
we
yeah, we met
met.
in the classroom. Wow.
Yeah, in the classroom, and then we just became good friends after that.
Wow. Okay, let's start from that classroom. And so
Mm,
I know for myself growing up, among other things, I always wanted to be a teacher. And is
mm,
what I'm doing today. I am like yourself, a teacher. I teach politics, although I did peace and conflict. It's all related in some ways. And
mm.
how about you? Did you always, want to be a teacher growing up in South Africa? What inspired you?
No, I didn't want to be a teacher at all. So, like, I was really on the path of becoming a performer, entertainer. I studied drama. That's actually what I went to study in university, at University of KwaZulu-Natal in Maritzburg. I was going to study drama because I was going to make it big, Broadway. I was going to be a superstar. And as I studied, obviously at UKZN, we focus more on the theory part
Mm,
of, performance. So you're getting to know a lot of theatrical, like theater people. And
mm,
when you get to know theater people, you sort of understand what they like, where they get their passion from. And I sort of fell in love with a theater performer, practitioner, Augusto Boal. I
mm.
loved what he sort of like spoke about in his work, in his readings. I just really like enjoyed it. And the more I fell in love with it, the more I wanted actually to facilitate um, learning. And when I got this love for education, to facilitate learning, going into communities and like bringing about a change in communities, I just fell in love with this idea. But I still sort of had this thing, oh, I still want to be, great and amazing. And one of my like with my mom, I had told her, my mom had said to me, you need to finish your drama. Cool. I finished my drama. Then she told me, you are not allowed to go and, go perform and do all those things. I need you to study your PGCE. And then that would make me as a parent okay with the fact that you've got a qualification of some sort.
Mm, mm,
So I did my PGCE, and after my PGCE, I applied at Wits University, and I was taken to go and do an honors degree in drama, and applied drama, which was I loved that, because it took away the focus of the performance, and then it brought about this thing of learning, understanding, conscientization, just being aware of things around me and learning, unlearning,
mm,
which then brought me to this journey of this is actually what I enjoy. And I'm also good at teaching. I consider myself a very good teacher. I know that I make mistakes every day and I learn from those mistakes every day. I think that's just, that's where I am, how
yeah.
it started and how it's going.
And indeed, I know you are a good teacher because you just acknowledge that you make mistakes every day. Because indeed,
Mm,
as a teacher, if you're not making those mistakes, you are not learning, right? And
of
for you to
course.
acknowledge that indeed speaks volume about
Mm,
his position as a teacher. Now, let's
mm,
go back again to South Africa. I knew you as a drama queen in every sense of the
mm. That is so true. It's still true.
word. Yeah, in every sense, which
Very true.
like you were oozing drama, right? You and your friends, like you really took your studies seriously, in its in every expression, like the applied sense of it, right? You were performing all the time on campus, and even afterward, there was a skit you did. Could you tell me a little bit about that skit?
Mm.
I think it was something on, is this xenophobia, migration? There was this,
Yes.
yeah, I was always,
Mm.
when I think about it,
So I think all my friends and I in our drama department days, we were really interested in that oppression, in so anything that was really like happening around the world or in at home and that hit close to us, we wanted to be a voice. So one of my friends actually wrote a script, and she wrote a script about xenophobia, and I was involved in that sort of acting around it. I also wrote a script on remember there was that Fields Hill accident, and the guy was actually not South African. So the play was written through his perspective. Sanele May, I think that's what his name was, where he's coming in and he's told to do certain things, but he makes a mistake and the blame is sort of shifted on him. He shouldn't have been in the country. How was he allowed to be in the country? So I think what I really, really love to put a light onto the critical issues that people are facing and just educate them in another perspective. That's what we were like. We were just social justice, social changes. We just wanted to make the world a better place.
starting from home. And maybe for those who do not know this concept of xenophobia, since you're
Mm.
a wonderful teacher, is there a way you can break it down for our listeners?
Yeah, well, for me, when I think about xenophobia, I think about like ignorance. I look at it as a way of people don't really understand, right? What when people don't really understand that I am also in another country at the moment, and people in this country can view me
Mm,
really, really badly as somebody who's coming in to take their jobs.
mm,
In South Africa, there is a notion that foreigners are coming into the country to take what is theirs.
mm,
And what happens is it's enticed by like violence. We had the king, a person with power speaking ill of a certain group of people, and it then making like people angry, and it then becomes like this violent thing that you should not be in our country. Usually it's Africans, Black Africans. I don't think that they ever say to somebody from England, you shouldn't be here. You know, it's only people that are African, like sort of Nigerian, and your people. That's the biggest ones that they obviously, name and sort of shame. But there's this thing that you shouldn't be here. You're coming to take my job. You're coming to take everything that belongs to me. And what happens is everybody gets upset, and they are then against people building, making businesses. So what they do is they destroy, because those people should not be living or being a part of a certain group.
Wow, I think that is truly the way to put it or to explain it. You did it ever so well. And I would want to touch a little bit, or at least expand a bit on that an issue, because I said South Africa is still home. When I think about home, Africa is home. Truly, I met remarkable people, including you.
Sure.
Your mom. Your mom was my teacher also.
Yes.
I wasn't the best student.
Were you that terrible?
I was terrible. Your mom taught me Zulu language. And of course, I could say Ubani Kamalako. You see, I could still
Sawubona unjani.
Sawubona unjani.
Exactly.
Ngiyakhuluma isiZulu kancane and so on.
Oh, she would be proud. She would be proud that you still remember.
I still remember those phrases. Yeah, indeed. So I had a remarkable experience. I would go with my friends during the holidays to their villages. I would be welcomed. Every family would want to, host me every evening, So I had a remarkable experience. But at the same time, I knew at the time, because I also came to South Africa in 2008. There was a scare in 2008. Something was, going amiss, and we should be careful. And indeed, we started taking our Zulu classes seriously, just in case. And I think when I left also...
What is this?
Yeah, exactly. And also when I left in 2015, I think there was another episode, and probably even before I came. Now, could you tell us the nature of things today, and what was it about you and your upbringing at the time that enabled you to see things a bit differently and embrace difference?
Ben, I think I've always been an advocate for justice. I've always, just growing up, I think, that growing up, my mom moved into Hilton, which is a predominantly white area, in 1994. She bought a house in 1994 where we had just gained freedom. So what did that mean for our family? It meant that we had to sort of go into a community. My sister tells the story all the time that my mom had to ask to go if she could join the church. So I think that by nature, I've always sort of known and felt that I don't think it's right to be a part of a segregated community, because I was also going into a community that was not my own. And people have always shown me kindness, have always opened up their homes, and have always opened up their hearts. So therefore, I can also do the same thing. I've always thought that we all are very different, and I don't want to be sort of the same as somebody else. And I know that just through my upbringing and being Christian as well help, because you look at people through different eyes. You're not looking at people through hate. You're looking at them, oh, I want to get to know you a little bit more. There's so much more. I've never been to Nigeria. Where do you come from? What is it about where you're from that brings you here. And that was more of, I want to educate myself. And the more you educate yourself, the more you know people and the better you can embrace people, right? When you're not educated about something, you're ignorant, which is why I was saying that xenophobia has got a lot to do with ignorance. Like, you're not educated, you don't know what it feels like to pack up your things and go to another country. You don't know what it's like, you know, and you don't know the sacrifice that it comes with. And I think to an extent, even myself, I don't think that I understood the impact until I myself packed up my bags and went to live in another country, which was not my own.
Okay, let's talk about packing up your bags and going elsewhere. Did you always know that you were going to do that at some point?
No, not at all.
So at what
Ben,
point?
I think you also know, like, where I come from, like, that wasn't a dream that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be somewhere else. No, my dream was to make a better life at home, because I knew that I didn't have access, or it wasn't even my reality, you know, to be a part of this kind of community, or to even think that, oh my word, I can go to another, you know, world and live there. It was never part of my vocabulary. And my sister actually moved here first, and she used to be like, girl, come pack your bags, let's go. And I was just like, no, dude, South Africa needs me. I need to be social justice for change. I need to change the world. You know, I need to change our country. Our country is up in flames, you know. And my dream was to, you know, bring about this huge change. And I think that that I didn't realize how I've got a much more like bigger purpose for my life. And my life maybe is not in just South Africa. There's something so much more and bigger for me.
God said to you, I'm going to make you a
Yeah.
feature of nations, right?
And here I am.
Yeah, so now tell us, so you moved to Doha as a teacher. You started teaching in South Africa and you moved to Doha. What was the teaching environment in South Africa like? And how did Doha welcome you?
I think the teaching environment was hectic. I think that was one of the biggest things that I was just like, I want out of this. I was teaching in high school, and if you're a young teacher teaching in high school, you sort of teaching like your age mates. They're not really your age mates, but they are. Like, you're sort of in the same age group, like with like 7-year difference, you know. So it was just really, really tough. Teenagers are tough. They are rude. They are terrible, you know. But I think it created a thick skin for me to come here into Doha. And, you know, so when I got here, I was teaching very young kids. I worked really hard, and that's because I wanted it so badly. And I feel like I had people who were always allowing me to grow. And when I had people around me who were sort of like people, my bosses who invested in me, you know, invested in my growth. Like, it was cool to see. It's cool to see now, even in my journey, that like, oh my goodness, like, you know, remember that, you know, that girl that came to Doha, you know, that just worked really hard to get to everything. Now I'm here. Now, like, I can teach in my sleep.
Oh.
And I can make a lesson plan. Like, you can tell me now, okay, dude, we need to do a lesson, la, la, la. I'll tell you exactly, okay, cool, this is what we're doing. And I'll differentiate it. And I'll give you an exit ticket. Like, and that, you know, I don't know. That's why
You know,
I'm here. And
I wanna hit that ceiling where you are right now. That you can even in your sleep. That is
yeah,
quite
I can. I can
that
dream
is a
about a lesson
that is a profound
and be like,
statement. It really is a profound statement. It is quite telling of, you know, your passion for this for this vocation, not even an occupation, right? Um,
Mm,
and so 5 years in, what is the best part? I know you have touched on it here and there. 5 years in, what is the best part about your job? And at the same time, living in Doha, and what are some of the challenges? I know you said you were in South Africa, and I was in South Africa, and life could be quite comfortable for people,
mm, mm,
including, nationals from other countries coming in. A lot of people wanted to stay. There were things that could really help and
mm,
pushing that for you after your studies.
mm,
So there was actually no need to leave per se, like you were saying. But you left and then you came to Doha. And 5 years
mm.
in, what are some of the challenges? Did you at any point feel, did I make the right choice?
I think you always question yourself. I think at some point you question yourself. Like I've got seasons been where I don't even know if this is the right thing for me and if I made the right decision. But everything up to this point tells me that yes, I did make sort of the right decision. The challenges are there because basically this is not my home.
Mm,
It's home, but it's not my home. You know, you also miss big family events. You miss family gatherings. People continue to live their lives at home, and you're sort of, when you come back, you're not really a part of their lives, but you are as well. You know, um, I think I miss my life at home. Like I've got a really good community at home, but what's really important is that what's kept me going here is I've got a very good community here in Doha as well. I've got people who I can call on. I've got people who will pray with me. I've got friends who will just come to my doorstep. I've got teacher friends, I've got church friends. I've got people that I know I can count on. I've got my sister. Um, I think that makes it worthwhile. The
mm,
sad part is that people come and go all the
mm,
time here
mm,
because it's sort of like a place where people come and then they leave. And it's always a bit difficult to sort of make long lasting connections. Even though I've made that, even though I've made those, those connections and friendships,
mm,
which has been great. Um, yeah.
mm. You just read the scripts of my life as well.
Mm,
When you were talking about things happening in your country of birth without you, the family
mm.
celebrations, the gatherings, people also dying,
Yeah.
and you're
It's a
not,
real thing.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a real thing. And I think like even like not being there to comfort people,
mm.
not being there
And be
physically,
comforted too, right?
yeah.
Mm,
And what happens is your grieving, your grieving is not the same
mm,
because you only grieve when you go there,
mm,
or
mm,
go to that space again
mm.
to feel, you know. I always feel so good when I touch home soil, like I want to take off my feet and not take off my feet. I want to take off my shoes, and put my feet into the soil, into
Right.
the wet, moist soil, and the air you smell that, tells you that this is home.
Mm, mm.
So, and
But
you
do,
don't necessarily have this here,
yeah,
you got it's a desert.
okay. It's a desert. Tell us a little bit about living
Yeah.
in the desert.
It's
I know
always hot. It's
as
humid.
a Christian, it's your calling to actually live in the desert, right? And get to know
I
yourself a
believe
bit better.
so. I believe so.
So, but anyway, jokes aside, what is it like living in Doha, really, for those who haven't been there?
It's really good.
Okay.
Like life is honestly good, Ben. You are taken care of. Um, I would always recommend you people to, to go and see the world. I enjoy it. Um, I think the only thing is that like it's quite small. It's small in a sense of like the people you meet the same like sort of people. Um, but it's good. I think that everybody is really kind and the nation is really good to us as expats. Um, yeah, I
Okay.
like it, yeah.
Okay.
I like it, yeah. I like it, yeah. And I think the only thing that can really make me move from here is not the only thing. I just think that like my time can come to an end here. Because like I'm a single woman and I feel like I need to go where the Lord maybe like places me and tells me to go. So that's probably like the only thing when the Lord will be like, okay, your time is up now.
Right.
Bye bye. You
Okay.
can go. But I can only leave after finishing my master's.
Right. Okay. I mean, it's the way I've always felt. I would always tell people I'm always open to what the next trip is about. And that was how I
Mm,
left South Africa, moved elsewhere, left the place
mm,
elsewhere. And, we're all pilgrims here. And like
sure.
it's gonna be quite sad if one didn't have the opportunity to move around and experience cultures and
Mm,
just different people. Um,
sure.
so you told us earlier on that you were an activist of sort in South Africa.
Mm.
Do you still? How do you carry out this mission while being a teacher in Doha? Or is this something that you left behind, or are there ways in which your activism work is still on?
On. Well, at the moment, I feel like I'm very interested in teacher stories,
Okay.
stories of teachers. I think that as teachers, we've got our own stories that we should be telling. And this was an interest that came to me during COVID, where I just felt like teachers are sort of like pushed aside. Like, when you describe yourself, oh, I'm just a teacher, no, I'm a teacher, like say it with your chest.
Okay.
Um, and this is my story. I've got a story. I'm not just a teacher. I've got a story in being a teacher. And I think that's where my activism is at the moment, is
Mm,
that teachers are important. Teaching is important.
mm,
As much as the learners, they are important. Um, I'm really like into like educators also being important and
mm,
educators being given the respect that they need to get, educators learning, educators reflecting, educators like, okay, what should I be doing next? Okay, like educators are also very important. And I think sometimes we just forget about it because the children are definitely our biggest, like they're the main things, but the educators as well should also be our main focus too.
mm, mm. I will take my profession and vocation seriously after listening to you. And you actually have a forum where you discuss all about,
Mm,
teaching and
these plans. I haven't done it in such a long time, Ben. But yes, that's where my passion. I do have. It's called Inspiring Teachers.
okay.
Um, I do. I've got a heart for teachers, and sometimes I feel like teaching is not my calling, and then I'm like, God, help me understand. And then it's like, okay, no, everything's good. I've got good days, I've got bad days, I've got good weeks, I've got bad weeks. Like it's not always easy,
Right.
and that's why teacher stories are important to tell people that it's not as easy as you think. I've
Mm,
got 26 children I am responsible for on the
mm,
daily. I'm
mm,
making decisions like this on the daily, you know, and I can be tired. Um, I have my own story, I've got my own personal life, and sometimes that interrupts who I am sort of in the classroom if we are going to be very real.
mm. Just one question about teaching before we move on. What is your teaching pedagogy? How do you get students, your kids interested in what you're doing? Is it something about you, or is there something you do? I don't want you to give
I
us a
think
secret here per se. Uh,
there's no secret. There's no secret. I think that like I really love to get them engaged into something where they are doing. I'm a believer of kids. When kids do something, they learn. When kids get excited, they learn, you know. But then opening up their gateways for their own learning, like just giving them the hook, and then they will open up. They will just make the scaffold, and then they will start to learn because of the scaffold that you've given them. I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to open up possibilities, you know, for kids to learn. And not just kids, adults as well.
You know, as you're talking, you love to sing and dance. I was just thinking of your mom teaching us Zulu. We did a lot of singing and dancing. So,
And imagine, my whole family is teachers. My
yeah,
sister, me, and my mother.
yeah, fantastic. Wow, wow.
Born teachers, yeah.
Amazing. Yesterday was International Women's Day. Happy Women's Day. It's a day late.
Thanks, Ben.
And what does the day mean for you? Was there something you did or something
No, not at
you
all.
like? Okay.
We've got Women's Day in South Africa, so
Oh,
the international one wasn't really for me something that's important.
right.
The South African Women's Day, I celebrate like women who fought, you know, for our struggle, for who gave us a voice. I think it's very important for women to constantly have a voice in our society, and I think I'm one of those women who just like I want to have my own voice. I want to be heard. I will not be silenced. I won't be scared to say something, because I won't be scared to say something because you are in a bigger power or anything. I try to really, like, if there's an injustice, I really want to say, I don't believe that was right. It shouldn't have gone like that. Yeah, so I celebrate that. This one wasn't really, I didn't do anything.
All right. Well, to be honest, talking about yourself as that courageous lady who speaks her mind is quite it resonates with what I know about you. You said in the classroom at some points we did ethics, talking about oppression and everything. You were someone who was always speaking about things happening in her environment, about how you felt about those things, and you've never stopped, you've never changed, you know. So it's amazing how
that's great.
You found that quality, you know, that you embody, and you've been blessing the world with it. So long may that continue.
Viva Amanda.
Amangla. Thank you so much, Ingy. I would love to spend the whole day talking to you. But I wouldn't want to take for granted, you know, your gracing this event or this forum. And so hopefully we will spare some of the conversations for another day. I know it's also late here in Doha. Our regards to your fellow teachers and your sister.
Working on Sundays.
Oh yeah, exactly. The week begins on Sunday.
Yeah, well, Ramadan is also coming, so it's great.
Okay, make
We're
sure
gonna have later mornings.
Okay.
So that's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ben, for inviting me to speak with you. That's been really lovely to catch up.
Yes, it is indeed. And enjoy the new week. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Okay. Bye.